as well, two people, to be honest. Number one, where the hell was Riley Gaines at? She literally saved women's sports, literally ripped women's sports away from biological men. Of course, Time Magazine's not going to do that. And the other one is Caitlin Clark. I mean, where was Caitlin Clark exactly in this? Why couldn't you put Asia on this list and Caitlin Clark? Because when you really think about it, and I don't know why I didn't really bring this up yesterday.
This one caused a stir when it first dropped, and it is still worth going back to because the whole thing never really made sense no matter how many times it gets looked at. Time Magazine put together their Women of the Year list, and when people saw who made it and who did not, the backlash was immediate. The name that stuck out the most for being missing was Caitlin Clark. The same magazine had handed Clark the Athlete of the Year title the season before, and now she was nowhere to be found on a list celebrating the most influential women of the year.
Bring this up yesterday. Why the hell wasn't Caitlin Clark on this list? Let's just come out with it. Let's just put it out there. Why was she not on this list? It's kind of unforgivable, to be honest. When you really start thinking about it, it's rather confusing. So here we go. Time Magazine backed themselves into a confusing corner with this latest blunder. This is a Whiskey Riff right here. When they crowned their Athlete of the Year last year.
That contradiction alone had people shaking their heads. The list itself ended up having around a dozen names on it, and the theme the magazine was going for was women who had shown real leadership and pushed for change on a global scale. The Time CEO came out and described the honorees as visionaries working toward a more inclusive and fair world for everyone. That framing immediately raised eyebrows for a couple of reasons.
There's a Whiskey Riff right here. When they crowned their Athlete of the Year last year, they did the right thing by giving the title to Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. Surprisingly, there was some backlash to the decision, which is absurd, with many in the WNBA saying the award should have been given to the entire league instead of just Clark. That's right. The Mystics owner went on CNN and was like, I think it would have been nice if they'd have put the entire league on the front cover of Time Magazine as Athlete of the Year.
First off, it felt like the criteria had been set up in a way that pointed toward a very specific type of person, someone involved in activism or social causes, and that left a massive blind spot when it came to someone like Clark, who had arguably done more to reshape the landscape of women's sports than anyone else alive right now. Aja Wilson was the name that got the most attention on the list, from a sports perspective. Nobody was out here saying Wilson had not put in work on the court, because she absolutely had. She is one of the most dominant players the WNBA has ever seen, and her resume speaks for itself.
Front cover of Time Magazine as Athlete of the Year. Well, there wasn't but one athlete that was moving all the numbers. All right, that was influencing all the money. Gate revenue, attendance, ratings, all the stuff we've talked about, right? There's only one. Right, wrong, or indifferent, just one. Plays in Indiana, wears 22, right? So, even though Caitlin Clark is, to be frank, the sole driving force behind the league's resurgence,
but the timing of it felt off to a lot of people. Wilson had made headlines the previous year for some pretty pointed comments about the way Clark was being received in the league, basically framing the whole situation as a racial divide. That came out about 10 days or so before the season started, and it set the tone for a lot of what followed. So putting Wilson on a list celebrating influential women and then leaving Clark off, it looked less like an oversight and more like a message.
Resurgence and success. Resurgence? When was there a surgence to resurgence to? I'm confused. Just look at the attendance numbers between games featuring Caitlin Clark and games not featuring Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. The difference is stark. That's something you've heard me talk about a lot. So the 23-year-old basketball phenom got the Athlete of the Year award, the honor. What's the big whoop? Well, Time recently...
Whether that was intentional or not was up for debate, but the optics were hard to ignore. The other name that kept coming up in conversations about who should have been recognized was Riley Gaines. Gaines had been one of the loudest and most visible voices fighting to keep biological males out of women's athletic competitions. A lot of people felt she had done more to protect the integrity of women's sports than almost anyone else in the country, and the fact that she was nowhere near that list added another layer to the frustration.
Well, Time recently unveiled their Women of the Year issue. And guess who didn't make the cut? Caitlin Clark. I'm not sure how a woman can win Athlete of the Year award and then fail to be named one of the best women of 2024. As the kids say, the math ain't mathin'. I can't argue with this. Ahead of the official release of the prestigious list, Time Chief Executive Officer Jessica Sibley.
When the backlash started rolling in, the argument against the magazine was pretty straightforward. Clark had single-handedly changed the trajectory of the WNBA. Ticket sales went through the roof whenever her team played. Television ratings jumped to levels the league had never seen before.
Executive Officer Jessica Sibley had this to say about the women's selections of their Women of the Year issue. The 2025 Time Women of the Year exemplify visionary leadership, inspiring global change through their unwavering commitment to building more inclusive and equitable future for all. Oh, good hell. Maybe we're better off with her not winning this award. We are honored to convene these remarkable women at our annual Women of the Year Gala. No wonder they didn't put Riley Gaines on here. And to introduce our
young girls started showing up to games in massive numbers, wearing her number, kids from every background lining up just to catch a glimpse of her or grab an autograph. The attendance gap between games that featured Clark and games that did not was enormous, and there was no real way to spin that. The previous year, when Clark won Athlete of the Year, some people inside the league actually pushed back on that decision too, with the Washington Mystics owner going on CNN and suggesting the award should have gone to the entire WNBA instead of just one player. That take did not land very well because the numbers told a completely different story.
Women of the Year Gala. No wonder they didn't put Riley Gaines on here. And to introduce our inaugural Women of the Year Leadership Forum to further amplify their voices and impact. Was there any biological men on this list? I'm just going to ask because that still sounded awfully DEI-like right down through here. It did. Maybe, yeah, okay. It seems there was at least one box that we can visibly see that Caitlin Clark did not check.
There was only one person moving all those needles, and she played for Indiana. Some commentators also pointed out that Clark had been on the receiving end of some genuinely rough treatment throughout that season. Kennedy Carter and Diamond Shields both made hard contact with her at different points that went well beyond what normal physical play looks like, and a number of people at the time called it flat-out assault. The suggestion floating around was that Clark was being targeted in part because of who she was and what she represented, and that the same environment that allowed that kind of treatment to go mostly unchecked was the same environment that shaped decisions like the one time made with their list.
Truly got in her back. We finna go over all the new tangibles that I'm noticing. Stephanie White is not taking a second away from getting in the lab and helping Caitlin Clark develop her game even more. Experience is the best teacher. Now, we know Stephanie White is a player's coach because she actually played the game. And not only did she actually play the game, she played for the exact same uniform Caitlin is playing for today with the exact same number. This, my friends, is going to...
The people defending the magazine's choices pointed to the careers and causes of the other women on the list. Nicole Kidman was there, along with Jordan Chiles, Anna Sawa, who was involved in reproductive rights advocacy, Olivia Munn for her cancer awareness work, and for speaking out on behalf of survivors of sexual violence, and others who were doing meaningful things outside of sports. None of those picks were exactly hard to defend on their own merits. The real problem was not that the other women did not deserve to be there.
Going to be one hell of a 2025 season. And I'm here to tell you, dog, Caitlin Clark 2025 MVP trophy is loaded. A'ja Wilson better bring the best she has, because as of right now, Caitlin Clark is about to give her a run for her money. With this footage, with what I'm seeing, I'm telling you right now, Caitlin Clark is going to be the best player in the W by the end of the 2025 season.
It was that Clark deserved to be there too, and there was no logical reason she was left out unless the criteria had been quietly adjusted to favor a different kind of influence than the kind Clark represented. The deeper point that kept getting made was about visibility. A huge percentage of the people watching the WNBA at that moment had no idea who A'ja Wilson was before Clark entered the league. The same could be said for Angel Reese and several other players who were suddenly household names.
By the end of the 2025 season, I'm saying it right here, and I'm saying it right now. She will be the best player in the W by the end of the season. Let's get to the footage and analyze it and break it all down right now. Roll the footage. This is the footage right here, guys, that is currently going viral all over social media. Y'all can see right there. Hold on. Go back before Kayla got sticking out her tongue. Out the gate. Look.
Clark had essentially opened the door and dragged the entire sport through it with her. Leaving her off a list meant to honor the most impactful women of the year while including someone she had arguably made famous in the first place was the kind of thing that was hard to explain away no matter how the magazine tried to frame it. Whether Clark got deliberately overlooked or whether the selection process
back before Kayla got sticking out her tongue. Out the gate. Look. Now this is Stephanie White. More than likely telling Caitlin, you know, whatever she's telling her, you can see her emphasizing it specifically to her. Let's get back to the footage. Caitlin is definitely enjoying this. Look at the dribbles. Look, Caitlin finna be an assist machine. One-handed passes. Go back.
Clark changed something real and lasting in women's sports, and a magazine list not reflecting that said more about the list than it did about her. When that training video of Caitlin Clark first hit the internet, the reaction was immediate and massive. The clip spread across every platform within hours and ended up making national headlines before most people even had a chance to sit down and really watch it properly. By the time the dust settled, the footage had racked up around 700,000 views, pulled in roughly 7,000 likes, over 1,300 shares, and about 345 comments, all within the first 4 hours of being posted.
Go back right now. One-handed passes. She's passing off the dribble. Step back. Killing them. Layups. Killing them. Floater. Now, this is something that Caitlin Clark is putting in her bag. Something that I believe.
That kind of numbers for a simple practice clip told everybody exactly how locked in the fan base still was heading into the new year. The real story behind the video was not just Clark moving around a court. It was what she was doing differently. Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, was right there in the footage working with Clark one-on-one, and the level of detail in what they were running through was noticeable immediately.
Is putting in her bag, something that I believe we have not seen her do very often, and that is floaters. And not only did she put up one for look, experience is the best teacher. Go back to Stephanie White. Blunt what I just said. Go back. Look, floater. Bow. Another floater. Bow. Hold on. Did I go too far? I think I went too far. Look, now that's Stephanie White.
White is not just any coach. She actually played in the league herself, and she suited up in that exact same Indiana uniform with that exact same number on her jersey. That connection between coach and player runs deeper than most coaching relationships, and it showed in how closely they were working together. The specific pieces of Clark's game that jumped out the most were the additions she had clearly been drilling in the offseason. The dribbling was sharper and faster than what people had seen during the previous season.
Went too far. Look, now that's Stephanie White coaching Caitlin, showing her how to get around these defenders, bro, when they try to box her in, dog. This footage was everything. Look at this. Incredible. And they know what's about to go down. They know. Oh, they definitely know what's about to go down. When I first watched this video clip,
the one-handed passes off the dribble looked effortless, like she had been running those drills for weeks straight. The step back was there, the layups were clean, and the floaters, that was the piece that really caught everybody's attention. Clark had not been known for throwing up floaters very often during her time in the league, but in that footage, she was pulling them out of nowhere and looking completely comfortable doing it.
Watch this video clip. I was on live maybe 2 hours ago. It hadn't went viral. When I tell you, this video footage has made national news. So for all the people, and it's just like my damn theory, just like I told y'all, when basketball come back, for all the haters, oh, Caitlyn went against her age. Oh, I'm not a Caitlyn fan. Oh, I'm not rocking out with Caitlyn. Let's see how many views this this little footage got. Let's see how many views it got.
She put up multiple floaters in the clip, and every single one of them looked like something she had already spent serious hours perfecting. White was also shown in the video teaching Clark specifically how to navigate situations where defenders try to crowd her and take away driving lanes. That is one of the things that happened repeatedly during Clark's rookie season. Teams would pack the paint and force her into tight spots.